but thank you to those who are on time. Okay, I think we'll begin. So welcome to the Life in Balance webinar. This webinar will last about 45 minutes, and then there'll be 15 minutes at the end for any questions you might have. As you've already noticed, you've been muted, and we do that because sometimes there's lots of background noise, or if everyone speaks at once, it can be quite distracting. So instead, I mute you, but you've all been able to find the question tool so far. So please, during the webinar, feel free to ask any questions at any point, make any comments, that's absolutely fine. You may have heard that I requested that you have a pen and paper. So if you haven't already grabbed one, please do. If you grab a pen and paper or pencil and paper, it won't be useful to have technology. It would be better to have the old technology of a pen and paper because we're going to do a little exercise. And I am going to record this webinar, but it will only be available for 24 hours after today. So it's not something that you can watch at any time. So brilliant, let's begin. So a little bit about me. My name's Jenny Garrett. I'm an executive coach and an author. I've been running my business for about 12 years now, which is a leadership and coaching consultancy. And I also am partner in a second social enterprise called Rocking Your Teens, which aims to inspire teenagers, increase their aspirations, and help them know that they can make a positive difference in the world. I have a personal mission, and that is to empower women. So really to transform the world, empowering one woman at a time. And I do that through my coaching, through my leadership development and my training. And I take quite a holistic approach. So although it is always anchored on work, whether that be a professional going up the career ladder or a woman starting her own business, I do also take this holistic approach and recognize that we are all more than just our work. There's so much more to our lives, and that impacts our work. So that comes into what I do. Welcome to those who've just joined. Please do find the chat tool, which is looks like a speech bubble with 3 dots in it, and just type hi and confirm that you can hear me okay and that you can see the slides on the screen. We've only just started really, so you haven't missed much. I'm just introducing myself. In terms of work-life balance, it's really close to my heart, to be honest. Right now, running 2 organizations, that can be really challenging, finding time for me. But also earlier on in my career, at one point I studied a master's degree, was running my business, and my daughter was really young still at that point, going to primary school. I've also had times when I've had an elderly relative, such as my elderly grandmother, and wanted to support my mum to support her. And so felt like a bit of a sandwich between caring for a young child and also supporting my mum caring for my elderly grandmother. And to be honest, work-life balance for me has sometimes just been about having enough time for my friendships, actually giving some time to the people I care about, having fun, and not being completely focused on work. So work-life balance is an ongoing and continual challenge. I'm not going to say I've got it completely sussed and I know exactly what to do. I know that at times I feel that it's working really well for me and that I often have to review it. And what we're going to go through today is an approach to helping you review it, an approach that I use now on my retreats also. So I've sort of found a model which I think is a real foundation for women that can help them think about their work-life balance, but also so much more. So what we'll cover today, we're going to learn about the 4 rooms that form your life balance. We're also going to think about why you should enter those rooms daily and how important they are for your work-life balance. I'm going to give you some very practical life balance tips. And I'm also going to talk about how the Happinista retreat can help you, because it might whet your appetite for some deeper thinking and some deeper learning. There is only so much we can do on our own. And I'm also going to provide a very special offer exclusive to those who attend this webinar or watch the replay within the 24 hours. Hi, Jacqueline. Oh, you're saying you can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me? Be great to know if you can hear me okay, because Jacqueline's saying that she can't. Yeah, so everyone else can hear me. Thank you so much for confirming. So I'm just going to type her a message and let her know everyone else can hear me. Please, maybe try again, please. Maybe try logging in again. And someone else has just joined also, I can see there. So please do type in the chat tool, let us know who you are and that you can hear me okay and that you can see the slides on the screen. So we've just talked about, just introduced this, what we're going to focus on, my experience of work-life balance and who I am. And I'm just really interested in what your life balance challenges are. So if you can type in the chat tool and just let me know what other challenges you are facing currently. I expressed some of mine that I've experienced in my life and the ongoing challenges I experience. But what are the challenges that you're facing at the moment? Okay, thanks for that advice, Lucy. I will send it to Jacqueline about tapping the screen again. School holidays, they're always a challenge, just trying to manage everything with school holidays and the children are, around your feet and being bored all the time. Someone here said boredom, that's a work-life challenge for you. Life balance challenge is boredom. I'd love to know a bit more about that. Do you get bored easily? Are you bored about what you're currently doing? And also we have work here, just work being a challenge, and that might mean actually having to put so much time into work that you don't have enough time for play, is what I'm guessing. So if you've just joined, I can see a few more people have just joined. Oh, someone's saying, is anyone there? Yes. Someone else has said full-time work and full-time study as well. Gosh, yeah, full-time on both, absolutely. Just typing to someone to let them know what to do to hear us. So hopefully that's helped. So yeah, a variety actually. And someone here said life, family, growing business, having to work at all. Yeah, so all of these things are competing commitments, aren't they? Things that we want to do and things that we have to do. Someone here said running a business effectively, running a family, financially supporting the home and emotionally supporting, trying to be a good role model, daughter, being effective in all other roles, wife, mummy, daughter, friend. Yeah, I'm sure that resonates with many of us. The person who said bored said, now bored in my current role, but I want to now go with my passion, but don't know how to go about achieving it. Okay, great. So brilliant. And someone says finances as well. So finances. So all of these things are challenges to our work-life balance, and we're constantly deciding on the best way to go about juggling them. And sometimes it can feel really unsatisfactory, can't it? It can feel that we're giving everything to one thing at the sacrifice of another, or we're trying everything and not doing very well at any of them. So these things can really be quite challenging and really make us feel that we're not doing very well. There was some recent research from LinkedIn actually, and they said women's definition of professional success has changed in the last 5 to 10 years. And actually work-life balance is more highly valued than salary or position now. That actually this idea of balance is more important than money. and that women are concerned about the lack of investment in their professional development and a lack of a clear career path. And I think what often happens is we opt out. If we're not getting what we want, we opt out of the workplace, or we feel very stuck and unfulfilled. And part of this idea about your life balance can be to think about how you create the life you want, how you shape that, whether that's leaving your job or whether that's thinking about the balance of what you do differently. And so we're going to think a bit more about that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your challenges. I think that's so important because this is always in context. And as we read, everyone has different challenges. We're not all the same. We're at different parts in our life, points in our life. Some people have children, some people don't. Some people that are earlier in their career, some people are later. Some people are entrepreneurs, and some people are working in their own business and actually working hard to be an entrepreneur. So we're all quite different. So I just want to ask you, you talked about some of your challenges, how satisfied you are with your current work-life balance, your current life balance. And I'm hoping that a poll has appeared to you and that you can just click on it. So either you could be unsatisfied with your current life balance and maybe close to burnout. Perhaps it's not as you want it to be, so you're not quite satisfied. Maybe you're satisfied and it's okay. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's getting there. Or maybe your work-life balance actually couldn't be better. It's at the best it possibly could be. So I'm just going to give you another 60 seconds to complete that, see where you're at. Okay, you'll be seeing the results in a minute. It's quite a mixed poll, actually, really, really interesting. I'm hoping now that everyone's completed it, so I will publish it. So I'm hoping you can see the results there. So 14% of the group are completely unsatisfied and feeling close to burnout. 14%, it's not as you want it to be, but it's not the worst. 14% are satisfied, it's okay, but again, it's not the best it could be. And 43% feel that it's not perfect, but they're getting there. And so for all of you, what I'm going to share now, I think will help. But it's interesting to think where you are. And and 14% now have said my life couldn't be better as well. So that's a really good space to be in. So fabulous when you're at that spot where it's just the best it could possibly be. So I want to share with you this proverb, which underpins how I feel about work-life balance. It underpins the work I do around work-life balance, and it underpins the retreat I deliver, particularly the next one in October, which focuses on life balance. So the proverb says that everyone is a house with 4 rooms. The rooms are a physical room, a mental room, an emotional room, and a spiritual room. And most of us tend to live in one room most of the time. But unless we go into each room every day, even just to keep it aired, we're not a complete person. I don't know if there are any rooms in your home that are neglected. I have a spare room and we used to use it as an office. Now mostly it's a bit of a dumping ground. You know, if I leave it unaired, it becomes really musty. Maybe we'll get cobwebs and it becomes neglected. But it still takes energy. We still know that room is there. And the idea is that we open every room on a daily basis just to let the air flow. So it's not neglected. So it's not taking up energy while not being used. So it doesn't become covered in cobwebs and a place that we never want to go. And so that we recognize the wholeness of our home. And I'm going to elaborate on that a bit more. And you might think, well, how does this fit into big dreams like changing my role or, actually those competing challenges in my life? But actually, when this foundation of going into your rooms happens on a daily basis, you do it in a very conscious way, you find that it resolves other issues that you're experiencing. So this is what it looks like. And what I'd like you to do is, on the paper and pen that you have, is just draw this X, this cross in the middle of your piece of paper, and put mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So have a title in each quadrant. So if you could do that, that would be really fantastic while I talk you through it. So this is a really simple tool, but it provides profound discoveries. It can help you identify where your imbalances are. It can help you create a plan for leading a more balanced and happier and holistic life. It can help you identify your own self-limiting beliefs. And it can help you create a plan to achieve your goals. And it also can help you create engaged and powerful relationships and strategize how to bring positive emotions into your life, and also make decisions that align with what's important to you. And lastly, it can help you create a plan for self-care. So the person who said they're feeling quite close to burnout, self-care will be really important. The person who wants to actually maybe leave their job, it can really help you create that plan. So I want to start by just looking at the mental room. Thoughts create our actions, but our actions don't always have to be shaped by external factors. So sometimes what happens is things happen outside ourselves, and then we think a certain way. And as a result, we believe we have to behave a certain way. That's not necessarily the case. If you just look around the room you're in currently and look at all the objects in that room, a thought created those. I have a fan at my desk right now. Someone thought to create a fan. I'm looking at my laptop. Someone thought to create a portable computer. I have a bottle of water. Someone thought to bottle water. What a clever person that was. So our thoughts create actions. But sometimes we spend too much time in our head, and that can be to the detriment of other parts of ourselves. If we think about emotions, for example, every emotion has the potential to be a resource in our lives. But sometimes we can steer away what we might think are negative emotions. My daughter has a tendency to think on the negative side, I would say. And I'm super positive, and I always want to bring her to the positive side. But I've also realized that actually acknowledging and engaging in what I think are negative emotions are helpful before I can move her into the positive place. So if we ignore those negative emotions, we're almost negating someone's feelings. And if we're ignoring the negative emotions that we might experience, what are we saying to ourselves? That they're not valid, that it's not okay to feel them. Something like anger, for example, can really spur you into action. It can help you move forward and make quite a big difference in your life. All the activists are mostly angry. They're angry and they want to change things. So a question here, how often do you visit your emotional room? And what are you doing when you visit that emotional room? And then there's the spiritual. And spiritual is not about religion necessarily. It's more about being rather than doing. It's sitting in a space of just being present, of just being in the now, of being able to reflect and be who you are without thinking about the future or the past, and becoming much more self-aware. So again, how often do you visit your spiritual room? And what are you doing when you're visiting it? And lastly, there's the physical. If you spend all of your time in your head, then you might not be spending any time in your body. I went to a talk last week and I was so pleased that I attended, because the woman really inspired me to actually start doing something physical again. 2 years ago, I did the Great North Run, and then I did a little bit more running after that. And then I've fallen into a bit of a slump where I don't do any exercise. But after attending that talk, I've been running every 2 days and I feel so much better. I'm not doing a really long run, I'm getting myself out, I'm using my body, and I feel so much more energized. If we're doing a lot of mental work, sometimes we neglect our physical. If we're really emotional, maybe we're not actually being going into our spiritual selves and actually being in the now and thinking about where we are, and enjoying the moment and actually reflecting. So, some things you could do, I just give you some examples. If you're in your mental room, maybe you might listen to books. You might listen to some audio books to learn something. Perhaps you might create new programs for your work. Or maybe you'll play brain boosting games. Or perhaps you'll drink green tea, which is supposed to be good for the brain. Or perhaps you'll be in planning mode, plan your weekly schedule. If we're in the emotional space, things we could be doing is listening to music, because music often, it actually evokes emotion, doesn't it? Or we might connect with friends and family who make us feel good. Or we might do some random acts of kindness for someone, or some gratitude journaling, just thinking about what we're really happy for and happy about. Or we might practice some self compassion and do something nice for ourselves, have a really lovely bubble bath, or take a nice walk in nature. If we're in the spiritual space, we might listen to a guided mindfulness meditation in something like the Headspace app or Calm app. We might watch the ocean waves roll in. We might do some stargazing. We might actually discuss philosophy and spirituality with friends. And if we're in the physical space, then we'll be looking after ourselves. We might make sure we drink enough water on a daily basis, take some vitamins, ensure that we get enough sleep, take walks around the block, work in our garden. So I want to give you a minute now or so, and I just want you to look at each zone. And I want you to just think about how often you visit them, and think about what, and just write down what you're doing when you go into those spaces. What are you doing when you're in the mental room, in the emotional room, in the spiritual room, in the physical room? So I'm just going to give you a minute or so just to write a few things down. So I'm hoping that you've managed to write a few things in the rooms. And I just want you to look at it. Look what you've written. What patterns do you see? Where are the gaps? If you found it hard to write anything for the spiritual room, why is that? Why is there a gap? If you have got a long list of things in the physical room, what is that telling you? And now I want you just to think about these three questions. Based on what you've written in those rooms, what do you think needs to be added? Yeah, are there gaps where you would like to add some things? Which rooms are most neglected and why are you neglecting them? So I'd love a bit of feedback here. By doing that exercise, what is it revealing to you? What sort of insights are coming up for you? And if you could just type in the chat tool. Okay, so someone here has found that there is too much mental. The other areas are okay, but could do with some more attention. Yeah, and I think the way we live now, it's quite easy for that to be the case for most of us. Depending on the kind of work you do, it often is a lot of mental. And then you might come home and have to do household admin, and just do lots of thinking, and you might be exhausted. So you don't necessarily get to spend time in the physical. And if you're very busy, you might not make time for the spiritual space. And if you're busy, you might say, well, I don't have time for these emotions right now. I've just got to get on with things. So you end up spending a lot of time in your head doing those sort of mental activities. So someone else has also said, I have too much mental and hardly any spiritual. And yeah, there's no coincidence that these sit opposite each other. That actually, really, if there is a lot of mental, that actually you do need to complement it with the spiritual. So actually, getting some time out, some time for reflection, some time to journal, actually just some time to be. Even if it's something like a 5-minute meditation to get you into that spiritual space would be really good for you. There's a good meditation that's happening at the moment with the Chopra Center, CHOPRA. So Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey, they're doing a 21-day free of charge 5-minute meditations. I think come straight to your inbox. That would be a brilliant start for you, just to start doing that. Or, as I've mentioned before, the Headspace app or the Calm app, just to start getting into that spiritual space would be really helpful for you. Any other insights? So we've had a couple of people sharing. Any other insights from doing that exercise? Yeah, what needs to be added for you? Which rooms are most neglected and why? So someone here said too much mental, need more physical. Would love to start swimming again, and would tick the spiritual as well for me. Okay, lovely. So that zen that you get when you're swimming on your own, yeah, would give you that me time as well. Yeah, and it's really difficult to find space for these things, isn't it? Especially when you've got a very busy life. But yeah, even if you can only do it, even if you can only start once, even if you don't commit to doing it every single day or every week, but just know that you'll do it once, that can be a catalyst. Because I think when you do something once, then you kind of think, you realize how good it is for you to step into that room, and that you need to do it more regularly. And that might mean that you decide that you find a way to do it more often, or you find that you can leave something else in order to do it. Swimming can tick many boxes because it could also be a family activity. So you might, it could be physical, could be emotional in terms of having some lovely family time, and it could be spiritual as well if you're doing Lents and you're getting some me time while you do it. So swimming could tick many of your boxes. So someone also said, also the quality of what happens in each space. Yes, it's not just about the quantity. It's not just having a long list of these things, but the quality of what you're having. Yeah. So the quality of your mental interactions, the quality of your reflection time, the quality of you engaging with your emotional self, and the quality of the physical activities. I think that's really important, but I also think sometimes that just doing something and starting, even if the quality of what you do isn't brilliant, is better than not starting at all. So if we wait to be able to do it at the very best quality, sometimes we might be waiting forever. when it's better just to start, and start with maybe not doing it at your best, but getting to the point where you can. So thanks to those of you who have shared. If anybody else wants to share anything more, that would be fantastic. This is we're going through this exercise quite quickly. Within the retreat, we take whole sessions on each of them, and we engage with them in different ways. So whether that's going outside into nature, whether that's doing different exercises to understand the limiting beliefs we have that might be stopping us going into a room, whether that's thinking more about our physical and the science around the physical. So we engage with them quite differently on the retreat and in a lot. Hello, I'm not sure if you can hear me. I had to, I got logged out for some reason. I'm hoping that you can hear me again. So sorry about that. Yes, I'm back. I'm absolutely back. So sorry about that to those who I lost then. Apologies for that. It just seemed to get stuck. This is technology for you. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and sharing the ideas around your insights from completing that exercise. I hope you found that useful. As I said, we've gone through it in a little bit of detail. We go through it in much more depth on the retreat. But it's a really great exercise that you can do by yourself at home and start to visualize your rooms and also think about actually what's going on for you, the rooms you need to step in, and create a bit of plan around that. I wanted to give you a few more ideas around give you some top tips. So first of all, you need to do that framework and think about the areas that are neglected and whether you want to work on them. But I also wanted to give you some top tips, which I think will be helpful. Time is one of the biggest things and the biggest challenges we have. So it's a good idea to manage the amount of time you spend on the internet. Software like Freedom, which lets you decide the times in which you can access it, can help. So it can stop you accessing the internet at different times. You can add personal and private appointments and tasks into your diary, so you get a full picture of your time commitments. Sometimes we only put half the picture into our diary and then wonder why we're so busy. But if we put everything in, we'll have a better picture. Watching less TV is a good thing to do. I gave up TV once for Lent, and I just noticed how much time it freed up for me. And I didn't think I watched much TV, but I suddenly had all of my evenings free, and it was amazing. Finding ways to say no is a really good thing to do to give you more time. Sometimes we say yes too often and too easily. Make sure it's something that you really want to do and it's useful for you. Write your don't do list, things that you do that are a waste of your time. Stop doing them. Delegate in and outside of your home. What can you empower others to do? And if you can, do online shopping. It's much quicker and convenient. Makes your life much more easy. Use apps to organize your life, such as Mint, for keeping tabs on your money, because some people mentioned finances. Try not to drive. Instead, you could use your journeys to read, go into that mental space. You could respond to messages or make calls en route, or you could do things like meditation, for example. And when you plan your day, put some flexibility in there, because the likelihood is your day won't go to plan. So if you plan for interruptions and think, well, I've got half an hour for this, if I add 15 minutes on, then that's more likely to be enough time, then you'll be much more likely to achieve your goals and feel satisfied at the end of your day. So time is a big one for most of us. And then if we're thinking about the physical, you might want to think about your diet, for example. You could do things like cook your meals in advance and freeze them, creating your own fast food. As I said, shop online, so you'll be less tempted to buy unhealthy treats. And it's also great for budgeting and saving time. You can also, if you plan your meals in advance, you can decide what ingredients you need for those meals as well. And you can snack on things like nuts and seeds and fruit instead of chocolate and sweets, which can make you feel a bit groggy, give you a quick high, but then a big low. You could try a juice detox. Just 3 days can cleanse your system and set you on the path to healthy eating. Use the 80-20 rule. You can just be good 80% of the time and have some treats 20% of the time. Eliminate stimulants such as coffee from your diet. You probably will feel withdrawal at first. When I gave up caffeine, I had a headache for about a month. But when you get through it, you realize that you've got less erratic energy surges, and your body is much more even, on an even keel during the day. You might think about cutting out red meat and reducing your alcohol intake. That's really important for a healthy heart and liver. And actually take some time out to eat. Rather than eating while doing other things, take time to consciously eat and be aware of what you're taking into your body. And you'll notice you're more likely to notice when you're full, and you're less likely to snack then. And also drink lots of water. It's great for your skin. It helps you feel full for longer, and actually will give you that youthful glow as well. In terms of your body, well, there's so much we can do, and we've talked about a little bit of it already, but things like running, walking whenever you can, actually using games like video games to exercise, or Wii Fit, and those sorts of things. You can do team sports, join a netball team, a basketball team, a cricket team, join a gym, do some dancing. That's not going to feel like exercise if you do something like salsa or Bollywood dancing. And swimming is brilliant. And someone mentioned that swimming could be a really good thing for them and also help them spiritually too. You might want to join a boot camp. So actually maybe go away for a few days and really intensely work on your fitness to give you a bit of a kickstart. And you could do some yoga, which is great physically, but it's also great mentally, as spiritually as well. So that would, and also emotionally. So yoga can tick a lot of your rooms at the same time. And gardening can be a great exercise. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm consciously going to exercise now. It can be just incorporated into your life. Things I do are go up, when I'm going up the escalators at the tube station, I'll choose to walk. Or if there's a lift, I'll choose to take the stairs. There are so many ways you can incorporate exercise into your life and looking after your body without it having to be an addition that can be incorporated. And something that often takes up a lot of space is if we have in our mental space and stops us moving forward emotionally and spiritually is clutter. So actually finding ways to declutter can be a really good thing for you to do. And sometimes people are, actually overwhelmed by clutter. So you could just give yourself 5 solid minutes a day to declutter. Don't try and do it all at once. You could take one room at a time and just focus on one part of that room. You could just decide to fill a rubbish bag a day of unwanted stuff and get rid of it rather than taking a whole day out. You could give something away each day. Look at your clutter and just each day take one thing and think who could benefit from that? Who might like it? Who might enjoy it? It's my clutter, but it might be someone else's treasure. Check if you actually need it. Look at what you have and think, if I haven't actually used it for 12 months, do I really need it? I might be saving it for a rainy day, but will that day ever come? And actually, if I had that space instead, would that be better for me? You could do things like rotate your clothes in your wardrobe, put out your winter wardrobe or your summer wardrobe or your spring wardrobe and put the other seasons away so it doesn't feel so cluttered. You could actually use what you're getting rid of and raise money for charity. So really target yourself with raising a certain amount for charity with what you're decluttering. And that could be a really great incentive. You can archive, paperwork and bills that you don't need to keep hold of. Maybe you're holding bills that are 10 years old. Look at how long you need to hold things for and get rid of the rest. You probably can archive or shred or burn them, and that can be quite liberating. If you've got a lot of clutter, you could hold an open house, and that could be really great and just get rid of things and make sure that everything has a place. Maybe you have boxes with labels on that you make sure things have a place. In the beginning, that can feel like a bit of a chore, but you'll be able to find things and it'll be much easier for you. And it's something you can get the whole family doing. Lastly, if you're thinking about me time, you can actually have some time with nature. Go for a walk along the canal or in the park, listen to the birds. You could have a date with yourself, take yourself off to an art gallery or the cinema, and just really fun, or just treat yourself to lunch somewhere and get some headspace. You could have 30 minutes in a flotation tank. It's a really great way of giving yourself deprivation from all of the daily tasks and demands, and it can really help to slow you down. We've talked about meditation. You could have a spa day. You could go on a retreat, and I'm going to talk to you a bit more about my retreat shortly. You could have a bubble bath. You could connect with friends. You could actually have some counseling or therapy or coaching, which is time dedicated to you. Or you could take an opportunity to learn something new, which is another way of getting me time, starting a new class, doing open university, learning French, whatever it is can be really good. So those are some ideas for you in order for you to find your balance, some things you can do in those rooms to help you. So I'd love to know what you will do. just as a result of this webinar today and thinking a little bit about your own balance. What would you like to do? What one thing will you focus on? Will you do? What insight have you had? And while you're typing that in, I'm just going to show you a quick video about why I created the Happinista Retreat. Hi, I'm Jenny Garrett. I'm an award-winning coach, author and speaker, and the creator of the Happinista Retreat. I created the Happinista Retreat as a follow-on to my online program. I have a group of Happinistas, women who make things happen in their own unique way, and they wanted to meet face-to-face for a transformative experience. The Happinista Retreat is so different because actually it's about celebrating your uniqueness. There is no right way, there's no wrong way. We have a complete mixture of women from all different backgrounds, but what connects them is actually understanding that they want the very best for each other. Ultimately, I think it's a sisterhood, and that's not something you find every day. The term Happinista was created when I undertook some research with Nivea, the skincare brand. We surveyed 2,700 women about their attitudes to celebrity, to career, to relationships, and we found there was a new breed of women who make things happen, but in their own unique way. That's what a Happinista is. I really hope that the women who attend have some time to relax, have some time to really plan, and also reinvigorate how they feel about themselves. Women are really busy, they do an awful lot, they're often juggling so much. And what happens is they give to others but not themselves. So this experience will refill them, but also really focus them on their goals and ensure they achieve them. Also, I know that these women actually will make friendships. And as you get older, it's really hard to make friendships, but I know that this environment will nurture those friendships and accountability partners to help them achieve their goals. Every woman is welcome at the Happinista Retreat. Anyone who wants to work on themselves is really happy to be reflective, but also action orientated, because it's not about reflecting for the sake of it, it's about moving forward and bouncing forward in order to achieve your goals. So I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into why I created the retreat. And I just want to take a few minutes to tell you a bit more about it. The retreat is for every woman. Typically, the women who attend are in their mid-30s upwards, and they really need some time out to focus on their goals and their dreams and their aspirations. It's a great opportunity to network, but in an informal way, not in a let's all give each other a business card way, but in a I'm really curious about you, I want to help and support you, and I want you to achieve your goals just like I want to achieve my own. And it's a fun space. We're not serious. Sometimes we cover very serious topics, and sometimes people bring serious issues, but it's really about us enjoying ourselves, having fun, getting to know each other and supporting each other. And really interesting, it's not cliquey. It's not about, oh, you're not in the right group, or everyone belongs. And there is a real sense of belonging. So I think what people get out of it is there's creativity. You have the space and the stimulus for self-reflection and creative thinking. This opportunity to collaborate with like-minded people whose only wish is to see you rise. And an opportunity for some calm, some real time to take some time out to reflect on your business, your career, your life, and plan for the future. People are refreshed, they're re-energized and reinvigorated to continue on their path. It's in really beautiful surroundings. The Downhall Country House Hotel is absolutely gorgeous. It's a place to be pampered and looked after, whether that's the spa area, whether that's the bedrooms, or the delicious meals we have. And if you look on the top right corner, there's a lovely meal there. That's exactly what the desserts look like. That's not just one they've put there to show us what it could be like, and you get there and it looks like something else. The meals are really, really beautiful. And so in terms of our rooms, our mental, our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual, there's space for all of that because the grounds are huge. There's places to wander and be lost. If you wanted to run, if you wanted to swim, everything's there for you to enjoy those opportunities. So I'm going to show you another quick video. This is of Catherine, who's attended 2 of our retreats. And before that, I just want to read out what some of your actual commitments to yourselves are. So someone said they want to commit to 3 days of me time, exercise, meditation, and journaling. Someone said, I do need, I think it might be meditation and have started, but don't keep it up. And they want to declutter their wardrobe, clothes, and paperwork. As someone said, I'm exercising again. I need to look at my diet too. And someone says they want to invest in me and find a way to achieve their passion. So brilliant. So great that you've got some thoughts about what you want to do there. So I'm just going to share with you what Catherine said as a result of attending the retreat.
I can't recommend it highly enough. Being here for the 2 days, I have come back energised and transformed. I know when the Facebook message came out about it, I knew I needed to be here. I would recommend it to any women who are at a stage in their life where they know they need to make some changes and they've got a plan, but they need help in getting there. For me, the difference has been that all those negative thoughts that I had have somehow just disappeared. And now I have a clear plan on what I need to do with a focus on looking after myself and also moving forward with my idea.